A number of them.
1947.
Can you tell me about the biggest storm that you experienced?
In 1947 was the one in George Street, wasn't it? We lived on the corner in George Street, and we had this dreadful cyclone came through in the afternoon, and we had blinds on the front veranda at that time, and during the wild winds that whipped up, of course, one of the blinds, I had them rolled down instead of rolled up, which I didn't know, and one of them flew into the bedroom window, shattered glass across the bed that we were in. We climbed out very gingerly from that. There was no electricity, of course, so there was no...
Water downstairs, you won't come out?
There was no electricity, but we had a little kerosene, a little primer stove, which we had to light the next morning. But during the course of the storm, the rain was pelting down, and one corner of the back of the house started to lift. So we were frightened.
It was an old house.
Yes, it was an old house. We were frightened that it would lift and roll off, you see. So Kevin says to me, well, go downstairs, he said, and bring up a piece of rope. So I was in my... I was in my nightie and got soaking wet under the house, grabbed a piece of rope, came upstairs. He said, now jump up on that little sideboard. He said, hang on while I tie it down. I'm going up and down, up and down.
Tied it down,
we tied it down.
Yeah.
Saved the night. Then we spent the rest of the night under the dining room
table.
Oh.
Is that the first cyclone you've ever experienced?
Oh no, it wasn't the first one. But the first one was a married couple, first severe one, and we just stayed there until the light of day started to break, and then we pumped a primer stove up and made a cuppa. Because there's no power or anything else like that. But there was great devastation across the town in that one, and there were roofs lost and a couple of lives were lost as well.
You never went through any at the beach house?
Yes, we Cyclone David down there, and all we could do was just hope and pray. In fact, Joy and I were there, and the men were out fishing. Her husband Ian was out fishing with Bobby Rama on the boat, and they were just worried that something would happen there, but however they'd taken shelter. We're all right, but I kept looking out the back window to see that the waves were coming up over the dune in front of us, and I said, if they come over there, we're gone. During the time, a little puppy came up the steps and was whimpering on the back landing, so we let him in the house, but the rain drove under the door and right back to the toilet upstairs. It was, yes, and you daren't open a door or a window because it would be blown. The SES were very good, though. They kept patrolling through Cooey Bay all that night, and one old gentleman across the road, Mr. Pannett it was, I remember them going into his assistance and taping his windows down and all the rest of it. But the next day there was oil, an oily scum on the telephone boxes and everything else. I had nappies hanging underneath the house, and they more or less had an oily scum on them too. I had to rewash them. And then the waves come up over the main beach in Yeppoon up as far as the Strand, and it blew a barge from Great Keppel Island over to Lammermoor Beach.
Oh my goodness. Can you remember what year that was?
1976.
76.
Pretty rough, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember hearing the story about